Guys, welcome to another video. Sorry about the quality of my last one, the lagging. I thought I had figured out what was causing that I had too much, there was too little memory left, but I'm not sure that that's it because I keep struggling with this problem. So hopefully I will get to the end of this video. Anyway, I got a hold of a partial of Mimosa Cardamom from Joe Malone, and this is not like a favorite brand or anything, but this particular perfume I have for nostalgic reasons. It reminds me of my grandfather. So very happy to have this. The only listed notes in here are Mimosa, Cardamom, and Tonka, but there's other things in here for sure. And it's funny that my friend says this fragrance reminds her of her father. So there's something like masculine in here, something about, I used to like when I would hug my grandfather, like he was off to church, he was all clean, he was, he wore polo sport, aftershave. There were, I don't know, something about the clean clothes and everything kind of mixed, and maybe a little bit of, what grows around in Northern California, perhaps. And my friend is from Hungary. It's not quite maybe at the same wavelength, or, at the same, is it called altitude, latitude? Latitude, I think. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, but this does remind, I'm really happy to have it. But then I had to, of course, get rid of something else because I now was at 51 bottles. So this is a rule I have, and even if it's a small bottle, it counts as a full bottle, even though it's only half full. I got rid of, finally found a buyer for a Santal Complet, which is actually a fragrance that I really like. I think it's unique. I find it really sparkly, like a lemony, coconutty sandalwood with some, there might be some cinnamon in there. I'm not quite sure, but you can either like wear it to the beach, or you can kind of like wear it as a spicier fragrance. It's light and sparkly. I don't know. I really, really like it. It's just that I needed like 10, 12 sprays to get the effect I wanted. And I never reached for it, hardly. I don't think I wore it more than like maybe 5, 6 times since I bought it. So I kind of lost a lot of money on that fragrance. And I bought it secondhand, but I didn't get what I paid for it. But I might have sold the decanter too. I can't even remember now. But okay, today's video is going to be a comparison video between Sundowner by Tower and Bengale Rouge. And I never would have thought that these were two that you would want to compare. But when I tried this for the second time yesterday, I didn't just get, oh, this is a tobacco honey fragrance. I was like, oh, this reminds me of Bengale Rouge. And so, of course, I had to try them side by side. So the first time I tried this, I just felt, oh, this is a tobacco honey with a little bit of animalic tones underneath. Probably not for me, but I'm going to revisit it. And then I kind of started noticing other things about this fragrance. I like the animalic tones. It has a little hint of smokiness. There's just more to it than I previously thought. It has some citruses in the opening, orange peel and bergamot. It has cacao, although I wouldn't have been able to say. I don't know why I can't pick up on that. But everything's really kind of well mixed, I guess. But these two fragrances share some overlapping notes. Honey, tonka, vanilla, rose, sandalwood, although honey is not listed in Sundowner, which I think is a little bit strange because to my nose, it is the most prominent note, maybe after tobacco. So Andy Tower is a Swiss, maybe you guys all know this already, but he's a Swiss self-taught perfumer. And I'm not that familiar with his work, except, of course, I know the fragrance L'air du Désert Marocain, which is, I think, like everyone talks about that. I have a decant. It's not the best amber fragrance. I mean, I can appreciate it, but I think it's too heavy on the cumin. It's a little bit too dry. There are other ambers that I prefer, but I would very much like to try more fragrances from Andy Tower. L'air du Désert Marocain. It's a little bit hard to say. And speaking of pronunciation of, fragrances, my ambition is to say things correctly. Maybe English, Spanish, French, whatever language. I really want to do my best. And I know I said, I called this, master perfumer Alberto Morillas. And I know it's Morillas, in Spanish. So I just have to think. So please correct me. I don't mind. I actually appreciate it a lot. And I just learned now that the Spanish house that is spelled Loewe is pronounced Loewe. But I was getting feedback from you guys. I had like three different instructions. No, you say it like this, you say it like this, you say it like this. And I had to find out, okay, which one is the right one? It's loeve. I looked at on several sites, and there was someone saying it like Spanish people, which I could have probably suspected, maybe because W is not always pronounced W, just because it is in English. In Swedish, we don't have W in our alphabet, and Swedish people have a really hard time kind of like getting their mind wrapped around that W. It's weird though, because sometimes they'll use the W sound when they say something with a V, like they'll say in the village, like the village, they will say village because they can't remember when it's W and when it's V. And if you ask a random Swedish person on the street to say the word woven, like a woven carpet, 9 out of 10 will not get it right on the first try. They'll either say woven, voven, or voen. Maybe there are even more, more versions of this, which is kind of funny. I know that my dad is Swedish, and we used to go over to the States a lot, and he had a tennis friend there whose name was Vince Walsh. And he said, poor Vince, I can't say his name. There's no way I can, it's like a total tongue twister for him. And then there are other sounds in Swedish that are really hard for my mom, who's American. Anyway, that was a little bit beside the topic for today. Sundowner. So when I tried these side by side, I noticed some differences. I noticed some more things. More things started to stand out from Bengale Rouge, which I was really happy about noticing, because this is the bottle that I have, and I don't think I will be buying a bottle of Sundowner. Actually, I know I won't. This one, it comes off, like in the opening, they're really, really different. This one comes off as citrusy, believe it or not, like fresh and citrusy. And now this one is, now they've kind of died down because I put this on like 20 minutes ago just to kind of refresh my memory, but I had them side by side yesterday, like taking notes. Sundowner comes off as skanky and smoky, just a hint of smokiness in the background. And then of course the tobacco honey. And I think the honey definitely is detectable in this one from the very beginning, but as these kind of like progress, they start to overlap more and more, and I find them to be actually quite similar. Both, I would say, winter fragrances. Like, I wouldn't wear these in the summer. I don't think they're a little heavy. They're a little sweet. I watched Ramsey had a first impression of Sundowner, and he said that Andy Tower has walked right up to the sweetness fence without stepping over. Or the sweetness border, like where it goes too sweet, but he stopped right in front there. So he was a little worried in the mid there if it was going to be too sweet for him. But then I think when he reached the end, he said he wanted a full bottle, or at least was like considering it. And I think it was because the note of ambergris comes out more, giving it kind of a saltiness. He said if you're a beginner, you'll probably pick up more on the vanilla. If you're someone who's sniffed very many perfumes, you will start to notice other things going on. The tonka, and it's not a sweet tonka in this one, and also the ambergris, making it interesting. So I think that if you are a tobacco fan, or if you're an Andy Tower fan, I think this is definitely one to try. And if you are, and then maybe you should try this one too. I can right now feel the citrus on the top. There are no citruses. This is a myrrh fragrance. It's myrrh, honey, tonka, vanilla, rose, and sandalwood. But I can definitely smell. It has almost a little of a Shalimar-esque vibe that I'm kind of picking up now for the first time as I'm just sniffing this right now. Very, very nice. Very, very happy about this bottle. Last night, I wore Overture Woman out dancing. Very brave of me, and I was really worried that I was going to feel like a cloud. But I put 2 sprays on, I think 2 or 3, but it didn't last the night because it was so sweaty in there. Like, it's an outdoor place, but it's open in one end, so it gets just like my hair was totally wet, and there was hardly any fragrance left on I had it kind of like on my inner arms. I never put behind the ear here where I have someone's head, like in the slow dances, then you have someone's head right here because I think it's just too strong. Another fragrance that I've had some experience with, like a really, really expensive fragrance, is this dance friend of mine who I've kind of gotten into fragrances, and he got his hands on a sample of Nefs from Nishane, which is like $500 fragrance. And he ended up getting a bottle, and he had 2 sprays on the other night, and I could like smell him like way far away that he'd been there. He danced past with someone else or whatever. So he needs to go easy on that trigger. It's really, really good though. I mean, I really, really appreciated like dancing with someone that actually wears a good niche perfume. Like a lot of people out at the dance scene wear like, you know, like Diesel or Sauvage, or just kind of like sporty type of fragrance. A lot of them don't wear fragrance at all, but some of them, they're just really boring. I just wish that they would like, because you dance with so many people will be enjoying it. But of course, there are people that maybe don't like fragrance, and I understand that there are other ways of looking at it than my perspective on this dance thing. But I can't believe he went out and bought that 50 milliliters, like for $550 or something like that. But boy, is that going to last him a long way, because that is a beast. That's a real beast. That's kind of a cinnamony, saffron, oud, very like Middle Eastern style fragrance. I haven't really looked up the notes. It might have some incense in there too. It kind of reminded me of, what did it remind me of? God, I can't think of it now. Something with saffron, and I'll think of it later probably. Those were, and then I've just realized, I'm just going to talk about 2 more fragrances. I think I've talked about these, Angelique from Papillon and Lost Alice, that these are a little bit too similar. So I'm probably going to try to get someone to take this bottle over, because I do prefer, it has a lot better longevity, but this just is much, much nicer. This is like a powdery mimosa orris butter fragrance. And this one actually also has orris, but I think it's the milkiness in this one that's kind of like, is getting, that's giving me the same kind of result as the milkiness in here and the orris butter in here. I think this is an X-ray. It really seems like an X-ray if it isn't. I'm not sure about the Masque Milanos. Are they X-rays? See if I can see the bottom here. Well, without my glasses, I don't think I can. I don't think it says. I'm not sure. Anyway, it's a very potent fragrance. If you're looking for something beast mode, creamy, gourmand leaning, then I would choose Lost Alice. If you're looking for something more floral, a little bit lighter, but it has that buttery creaminess and that feels like luxury, then get Angelique. Okay, so those were my thoughts on Sundowner. What do you think of Sundowner? Have you tried it? I would love to get my nose on a few more, a few more fragrances from the house. There are many that, like I heard Persolaise, and I heard Ramsey talking about some other fragrances from the house that I heard the names for the very first time. I haven't tried them. I've only heard like just 3 fragrances from there, and that's it. So I would really much like to try those. All right, guys, that's all for today. This is a shorter video.